crazy because I'm here right now about to see The Long Walk, and I just saw this giant, The Running Man, directed by Edgar Wright, the guy who brought us Shaun of the Dead and all that shit. Dude, that's fucking sick. Josh Brolin, Glenn Powell. That's gonna be sick. Yo, I can't believe it! October is finally upon us. That is right. And I've been promising you motherfuckers for months that in October we're gonna turn up. And we got some great videos planned. But today, we gotta talk about this new movie I just saw in theaters, The Long Walk. Based off the Stephen King novel / Richard Bachman. Back in the day, Richard Bachman was Stephen King's alter ego. And he wrote this book, and then now in 2025, it has this new adaptation directed by the man who brought us Constantine, Water for Elephants, some of the Hunger Games, and it's written by J.T. Molan, who brought the phenomenal Strange Darling film. I want to just say, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, not trying to hype, but I hope 10 years from now, when you're talking about the pantheon of the greatest Stephen King movies of all time, I genuinely think The Long Walk should be up there. Why? Let's talk about it. What up, y'all? Welcome back to Phantom of the Indie Review. I am your host, The Walking Dill. Oh, shit. We're on the journey of 5,000 subscribers before this Halloween. How close are we? We're like 900 away. Can we do it? I don't fucking know, but I would really like to. On this channel, we talk about spooky shit. We bring the comedy aspect. We bring the lighthearted fun shit. It's very eerie. It's very ominous. It's very dope. It's like chill. It's like if 2 Chainz walked into Spirit Halloween. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, come hang out with me. Give me a subby. This film is set in a dystopian world, and the biggest thing that I would like to talk about is the ambiguous atmosphere that caters to the story. It has such a haunting and charming aesthetic and look to the world. It seems rather from the 70s and 80s, but it could also be present day. It's set in a time period where it's not, this is the past, this is the future. It's its own created world. And there is a thing called The Long Walk. Essentially, all of America's youth signs up to be a part of The Long Walk. It's not like the military or the army where you have to enlist, you have to do the draft. It's people choosing to, and all these young boys, they fill out a name and they get selected. This movie focuses on the main protagonist, Ray Garrity, a young troubled boy who has a tormented past, and the movie starts out with him getting his letter. It's across the screen saying, "Welcome, you got accepted into The Long Walk." And the thing I love about this, I read The Long Walk book back in my early 20s, so I knew where it was going. But if you went into this movie without watching the trailer and not knowing anything about it, you get this looming sense of dread that The Long Walk, it's not happy-go-lucky. It's along the lines of the Hunger Games-esque thing where, yeah, there's a big cash prize and it's a competition, but all the kids that are involved are terrified of what's to come. And right off the rip, the writer and director of this movie spent a lot of time building these characters, and I find that to be the most tremendous part about the film. It is a social piece on American society, and especially during a time in society today where we are so divided. I feel like this movie came out at a perfect time because this script is just so wholesome. It bleeds through these characters' performances more so than a novel does, and I feel like that's very hard to do in an adaptation. A lot of times I talk shit about adaptations because they don't fulfill characters, but this one they do. Apparently on set, the director and costume designers, they let the actors handcraft their own costume and aesthetic and vibe, and they really wanted these actors to create these characters themselves because essentially, oftentimes when you see an adaptation, you grow up reading these books, you grow up fantasizing these characters in your head. You know, I've had many Stephen King books or novels in general where they make an adaptation and you're like, that's cool, but that wasn't the vision of my character. Though the appearance and looks and vibes of some of these characters aren't quite essentially what you thought of in your head, these actors brought the personality and soul to them, and which I feel like very impactful. So whether or not you picture a character to look one way in your head and that's not how they look, I feel like they were true to the page of these character arcs. Ray Garrity and this band of misfits are all walking together, and 50 people can sign up and they can drop out, and then so many people dropped out, it ends up being like 25 kids, but we get a chunk of them as main characters, about 8 main characters. We have Ray, Peter McFreeze, which I'll get into next. We have Hank, who's kind of the little loudmouth, sarcastic, nerdy one. Arthur, who's the religious, spiritual, wholesome one. And then we have the 2 villains, Berkowitz, Barkovitz, and Stubbins, who are the 2 kind of assholes. Stubbins is like this mean, self-isolated, tough guy, fit as hell, everyone looks at him right off the rip and they're like, all right, he might be the one to win this whole thing. He just has that ominous demeanor. Barkowitz, he is the dude that, like, he's kind of like the troll, the little mean, malicious one, the one that's going to cause a pain in the ass into their sides. So as they're all lined up to do this show, to do the long walk, the Major comes, played by infamous icon Mark Hamill, and he is there on his giant tank, looming over with his sunglasses, and he lays down the law. He's like, you have to maintain the speed of 3 miles. If you stop, if you go under that, you'll get a warning. The third warning, you get your ticket, and everyone's terrified. And as this movie walks, the thing I like about it the most, the second they start walking, it's like a good 5-10 minutes of them just walking with beautiful scenery and music and vibe and aesthetic to really hone in the fact that this is real. And they do not stray away from walking this entire movie. A lot of times when you watch movies that are like competition based, like Escape Room or this and that, they do the competition and they rebel and break free, and then it becomes like a thriller or an action movie along the way. But this movie, from start to finish, is the long walk until someone finally wins. And the thing that stands apart the most for me with this adaptation, it's along the lines, it's up there with movies like The Shawshank Redemption, Stand By Me, The Green Mile, where it is so heartfelt, so genuine, so wholesome, and it just tells a provocative story about human connection, and that when society's down, people are social creatures and they somehow still band together. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to keep this review vague, because if you want a deep dive spoiler review, let's get this to 30 likes, because I don't want to talk your guys' ears off. I really want to do an analysis deeply about this movie if you want that. But we'll talk about the vagues, the chemistry between Ray and Peter, the way this writer and director crafted these characters in such a small amount of time to make you really feel for them and really like care about their safety is a very hard thing to do, because a lot of times you watch movies like this and there are disposable characters, but in this one there's a chunk of them that you're ruining the fact that they're going to get killed. Because essentially on the long walk, that third ticket, they find out fast, is that if you slow down and stop, you get shot and murdered. These giant military tanks are following them, and it is fucking brutal. And I will tell you, every kill, every fucking death scene in this movie is unflinching and unnerving. Like, you don't get used to it. The way the characters don't get used to the murder, you don't either, especially as you build to like these characters. And there's some kills in there that are a little bit different. Some of them are run-of-the-mill. Some important characters have some specific kills that just rip out your heart. But the most important thing about this movie is learning almost different perspectives of trauma and grief and guilt. For example, Ray, he's vindictive. He has a vendetta. He's trying to avenge a certain aspect of his life. And then Peter, he is soft-spoken, very humanitarian. He's kind of the one that doesn't feel confidence in himself. He says, I'm just going to keep walking till I can't, and then when I can't, I'm going to sit down. He's like, I'm the type of guy where I don't know if I have it in me to win this. But he's doing it for other people, which I related to heavy. He is that person that everyone flocks to him, and and he's so grounded, and they love and need him the most. But he has all the doubts and insecurities in the world, but he stays strong for the people around him. He keeps pushing. Like, there's this one scene where he talks about the backstory of his life and why he is where he is and why he has a scar on his face, and he tells his brutal story, and he's like, I can't even blame the guy that did it to me, I blame myself. And that is such an insightful thought to have. It's not a victim mentality, more so it's like, I put myself in the situations at hand, and people can't control the situation, only I can. At the same time, you can't control people around you, but you can always create the narrative of your life. A lot of people want to be like, yo, this is fate, this is like in the cards, this is how life unfolds no matter what. But at the end of the day, along the lines with like celebrities that pass away, like a lot of rappers, they create and harbor that own negativity, or people that manifest positively. Like, whether or not you're doing it consciously on purpose, you are manifesting your destiny no matter what. So it's not manipulated as much as you have to retrain your brain, your train of thought. That's the thing I love about this movie. Garrity, played by Cooper Hoffman, son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, is such a fucking phenomenal actor. David Johnson, I believe his name was, who played Peter. Like, these two actors alone, I genuinely feel like this movie should be nominated for awards. Maybe not Oscars, because, you know, the Oscars are so biased and hypocritical, but these two performances, like 1A and 1B characters, you're rooting for them both, and it gets to a point where you're genuinely like, I don't want there to be one winner, and there has to be. And that's the thing that fucking sucks, because not only are these two the main protagonists, the Four Musketeers are, and the Four Musketeers consist of Ray, Peter, their friend Arthur and their friend Hank, and it's just like, even the villains you root for, there's just so much heart and beauty in the story, and there's very little cutscenes, but the ones that they choose to show flashbacks are brief and impactful, and it shows you that this world is dystopian. This world is controlled by the government. This world does lack a lot of compassion in society, and like these kids are bonding together. Ray says at one point, he goes, none of us truly sign up for the long walk. We're all forced into this idea of a fantasy that makes us want to. And all around, it's just a great film. But if you guys see a movie in theaters this year at all, I highly suggest this one. It is provocative, it is haunting, it is gut-wrenching. It's not a typical Stephen King supernatural scary movie, but it's one of the most haunting and scary movies I've ever seen. And the script should at least win awards. Like, this movie does such a good, fine detail at characterizing the human soul, all these different perspectives, people allowing themselves to change. And the best thing is, watch some interviews on YouTube. The actors, the director, all the people that collaborated on this really felt that too, like they were the right people. Stephen King approves everyone he casts in his movies due to some issues in the past, and he nailed it on the head with this movie. Like, I genuinely think that this movie is going to go down in history as Stephen King's greatest movie of all time. And I know all the old heads are like, oh, what about The Shawshank Redemption? What about Misery? Those are phenomenal movies, but this one just told a story that was so impactful, so beautiful that you can't deny it. But alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, give me a thumber, hit that ding button harassing you, telling you, hey, it's me, I'm here, I'm Isaiah. One time for the one time and two time for the O's. Give me a hell yeah for horror.
What, walk me a while?
Yeah, I do, Pete.
It's officially October, but at the end of the month, I dropped a little playlist called September. It's a second annual one where we talk about Stephen King mania, baby. And in this specific episode, I talked about his alter ego, The Dark Half. I talked about an IP that he fucking ripped off, and then the new remake of Salem's Lot. Last year's series was epic, and this one was even better. So I'm just making a quick plug right now to go check that shit out, because what's the best time to talk about Stephen King and spooky stuff than October, the Halloween season? We turned up on the Drip Fed Dread. Check it out. Come hang out with me.